This video is going to be about the cQ-Bands indicators, version 1.0. It's good for finding entry points, exits, and stop levels, as well as general support and resistance. It uses a moving average, of which you can use any of these. And then it calculates a number of bands above and a number of bands below. And that's what these levels are right here. It also calculates the cumulative moving average, which is this lighter line. This yellow one is the actual moving average. This red line is the central pivot point, which right now it is set to close. So at the beginning of the day, it's using the first candle of the beginning of the day, the close of that candle. That is what this line represents. Again, you can change it to any of these. The other things that you can do with this is you can change the number of bands. If you don't need 8 above and 8 below, you can use 8, and that will give you 4 on top and 4 on the bottom, and so forth. There are a number of band tables included in there, and also a user table, which you can create your own. For example, we have this Fibonacci table, and you can see how it calculates it here. And then we also have a log table, which that's what it looks like. We're going to put it back to linear so I can explain this pips per level. There are 2 ways of calculating the number of pips between each of the levels. We're in manual input, so each band is going to be 20 pips between each of them, between the moving average and the first band. It's 20 pips, 20 pips. If I went from this band up to that band, it's 20 pips, and so forth. In the linear band, that's how it's calculated. And then we also have this other mode to calculate it, which is just using the ATR. And the ATR is these down here. To calculate the ATR, you can use the high minus low, or the current close minus the previous close. You can use any of these moving average types for the calculation. SMA is the default. Right now it's using a period of 100 and an ATR multiplier of 2. So each band, when I click this, each band will be 2 ATRs away from one another. And this is what that looks like. This is a cQ-Bands quarterly, and right now we're on the daily chart. It's the same indicator, just right now it's resetting every quarter. There's also a bands that you can use on any time frame. It doesn't calculate the cumulative moving average or the central pivot. It just plots the bands, and that's just this one, the cQ-Bands indicator. See, it doesn't have any of the other stuff, but it does have the various tables. Each cQ-Bands indicator has a number of band table types. It has the linear, Fibonacci 1, Fibonacci 2, log, exponential, and square root, and then a user-defined file. What that is you can create a file using the editor, and this is where they're located. You can just open this up and you'll see them in here. Right now this is the cQ daily. This is for the 16 band. This is basically what the linear table type is. These are floating point. You can put a dot in there. Right now it just takes the dot out when you save the file, but you can put whatever you want in there. This is where you put it. The negative is for the bottom half, and the positive is for the upper half. If you don't want any negative half, for example, you can make them all positive and I'll stick them up above. So however you want to do that. These default ones are created each time that you open the indicator. And then what you do is whatever you save this file as, you could save it as test or whatever you want to call it, save it in this directory. And then when you go here, you make sure that you're on the 16 bands, user file, and then type whatever the name of that file, not the .text, just the name of it, and then it will use that file. For the reset period, you can choose the starting price. Again, when you select the starting price, it's going to use this applied price here. So if you want to use the opening of the weekly candle, you can select open. Or if you want to use the close or any of these other ones, you can do that. You can have it use the previous cumulative moving average level, which I'll show you what that means. As you can see now, the central pivot is now using the previous, right, which is right here. This is the previous cumulative moving average. Okay, and down here, again, the previous cumulative moving average, where before it was using the close of the candle, which it was down here somewhere. Yeah, I guess that's it.